Let's shine by seeing the best in all of us and by looking out for each other. Let's stay healthy. Let's shine together.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harlan, program host for Let's Talk Together. And today we are talking about cancer awareness. And our first guest is Minnie Jett, who is a cancer survivor and also had her services at the Reed Cancer Center. So we want to welcome Minnie Sue and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
We want our audience to learn a little bit more about you, and I have the pleasure of knowing Minnie my entire life. So, also she's an attendee of our Medical Monday series. So, Minnie, I know that you had cancer twice.
Yes.
So, can you share on both times that you were diagnosed? The first time you were diagnosed, where did you go to a screening? How did that happen?
First time I was diagnosed, I went to the hospital for one thing on Friday, and they took a chest x-ray. And when I went back on Monday for the procedure, they said I was looking at a major surgery, and I didn't know what they was talking about. So they left and come back and said they had found a tumor on my lung. So at that time, I had Dr. Ryman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they came in, and Dr. Hummer was my doctor. And of course, they got together and sit me down and talk to me. And it went from May to October before they decided to do surgery. And when they done surgery, they cut me down my back and under my arm. But the cancer was in that V on my right lung. It was a tumor big as a dime. And they just cut that off. And I didn't have to have treatments, but I was down for like 11 weeks. Well, the next time, my girlfriend told me I need to go and have a mammogram. I said, I'm 80 years old, I don't need no mammogram. And so she kept on me and kept on me and kept on me. So finally, me and her had always went together. I said, well, I guess I'll go on over and get one. She said, you ain't got to pay for it, just go. So I went over there. Well, you know how they put them pretty little robes on you. You're sitting out there, and I'm talking and looking at magazines, and they told me to wait. I still had no idea. And then when the lady called me back, and she told me they had found something. And then I went through a lot of procedures with the Dr. Moore, and the ones in that Reed Hospital was the best thing in the world. They was very patient with you. They told you everything was going on. And I was only in the hospital one night when they removed my breast, and I never had a minute's problem. Everything went very well.
That's great.
My daughter came from Chicago to see me, to take care of me, and she thought Reed Hospital was the greatest thing. It was so clean. She said, oh, Mother's so clean. So,
and she also, because she had another friend going through
the same thing
in Chicago.
But she's gone.
Yeah.
So, but I've always had success with
well, that's good. I remember her saying how the cleanliness and everybody was so friendly.
Yeah, everybody
as opposed
was
to being
so
in the city.
nice. Just take care of it. I've been in Reed Hospital a lot of times. And they've always been really, really up there, but I've had many doctors in Richmond. So, but my cancer, and even taking my chemo, the people, you would go in, they would give you something to eat, they let you take a nap, give you warm blankets. They made you so comfortable. And even when I went to radiation, it was I drove myself there and drove myself back. It was I just never had any problems.
In addition to this, I think I'm taking you on the road with us throughout our oncology area. We might have to speak to some of our other patients. So that just to be optimistic. One of the things, and I know that with this, did you have any family history
No.
of cancer?
Nobody in my family ever had breast cancer.
So, because that's a lot of times some
Yeah.
of that you'll see like family history. But you had nothing from family history.
My mom was like 37 when I was born, and I was from down south where we didn't have hospitals in my hometown. The doctor came on Wednesday and Friday. Some of them could have been sick and not known it.
Yeah.
So, but never, for us I know, my mom never had any sickness.
So I truly understand that. One of the things that we're so excited how you've managed to, and you've been just the survival, and not once but twice, and so we know that makes your family. It's been something your family can cheer on as well.
Yes.
And I know we have some pictures of some things for you and your family. I know there's one picture, I think they're outside your house and taking a big group picture. But let's talk about, there we go. And just a different, taking the pictures, enjoying yourselves. How many grandkids?
Oh, I got 9 grandkids, 11 great-grandkids, 4 great-great. And I have a 5th generation granddaughter. I know you saw her dancing. She is a darling. And they all love their granny, and I love them.
The other thing is, just recently we celebrated your 50th anniversary.
Yes.
And it was a grand time.
Yes.
We had a lot of people, so there are you and your lovely husband, Bo, also known as Wilbur Jett. And if you're into Richmond basketball, I'm sure you've seen Mr. Jett there, and that's always a positive. One of the things that we enjoyed so much, and you're known throughout the community from a lot between Silver Sneakers and some of the other things, some other groups, and people we see you. So we were just delighted that you could have the time to come on the show. So what's one of the biggest things that you have learned from through your cancer journey, and that you'd like to share with people so that they aren't afraid to go have a
to be
treatment?
positive about it, and I didn't get upset. My friends and my husband was very, very upset. But to me, I'm a child of God's, and I know I'm going when He gets ready. But I never was in a lot of pain. I wasn't in pain where I need to take pain pills and stuff like that. I don't think I ever took pain pills after I left the hospital from taking my breasts out. I don't remember being sick. So I think it just, like, for one thing, exercise helped me. I've always exercised. And
You said that in our Silver Sneakers.
Yes.
You've been a very big proponent.
Silver Sneakers is a great thing to, for older people like me and younger people. If you started young, you do better than me, and I started at old.
Well, you're always young at heart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we are happy to have had you and let you share about your cancer journey.
Thank you for
And
having
we want
me.
to thank you so much, Minnie Sue Jett, for joining us today
Thank
on
you.
Let's Talk Together.
Let's shine by seeing the best in all of us and by looking out for everyone's well-being. Let's shine by staying true to ourselves while surging toward the future. Let's shine with the best care possible and by treating you here, right in your hometown. Let's look out for each other. Let's stay healthy. Let's shine together.
Hi, and welcome back to Let's Talk Together. And our second guest is Roxie Deer with the Deer Family Fund.
Hi, Sherry. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Roxie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we're going to continue our talk on Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And I know that's a big subject with you.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get into your story, just wanted to share, we have some data just on cancer screenings. And I know that sometimes now, because you've been doing so much regarding cancer awareness, often people see you and think about cancer awareness. So
Yeah, there's a lot of women who reach out to me now that when they get their mammograms, they tell me that they're going to get them, which has opened a whole new opportunity to say thank you to them for taking advantage of that opportunity, but also it's encouraging them, offering them resources. So the screening piece has become really important.
And often, and we like to that people are sharing with you on how that they are making sure that they are having their various screenings.
Yeah.
We want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
One of the things is we have some data just on cancer screenings itself.
Okay.
And I know we'll share that. But just on the different preventative screenings that are available, and probably the number one here says the first one we have up is prostate screening.
Yeah, this is a big one for men.
And definitely we do that twice a year, one with the health department, one with Reed. And often we get a lot of our female patients who encourage significant others, relatives, to make sure that they are going to the cancer screenings. And often it's a tough sell.
It is. It is. And we find that men are more hesitant. What I've heard from our oncologist is that women often know when it's going to be bad news, and they come in and they say, I already know. Then we do the screenings, and often they're right. And men are a little bit more hesitant, and they're often not as aware and not as in tune with their body. So we really rely on the women in our men's lives to take care of them in more ways than just cancer screening. But cancer screening is pretty important.
No, we have that. And one of the, probably another big number that I just, when I read this fact, I was really shocked. It says 50% of cancer cases and deaths are preventable with the knowledge that we have today.
Yeah.
So something that might have flew under the radar, even as little as 5 years ago.
Yeah.
By coming to the screenings, being evaluated.
Doing the self-exams.
Right.
People think about your annual exams. You can be even more preventative by doing the at-home self-exams. That's become just as big of a game changer. It's not waiting until you're screening 9 months from now. Let's find it right now and go take the necessary steps to prevent. And maybe it's the difference of finding it at stage 1 versus stage 3 or 4.
Correct. And that's a big thing. Share with us how I actually met you, through your mother,
Yeah.
who was a longtime Reed employee,
She was.
Jan Deer.
Yeah.
And whenever I was talking to her, she's always said, "My Roxie," and after a while, she became My Roxie to all of Jan's friends. So even though you were still in high school and then college,
Yep.
So I'm a little out of college now, but
Few years.
few years.
My mom worked at Reed Health for 25 years. And she was actively involved at the hospital on many committees and different groups. And single mom, raised me, I think pretty well. But one of her unique story is she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015. And worked through her whole chemo process. She would get chemo on a Wednesday morning and go back to work Wednesday afternoon.
she had really cool, snazzy
Wigs
wraps
and wraps and all kinds of fun things. They changed color. She had ones for every outfit.
That's perfect. Some perfect pictures.
Yeah, these are awesome pictures. And she battled her cancer with a smile on her face. She thought about all the other women that were affected by it. And so during her chemo process and her treatment, and even as she went into a short recovery, and eventually the cancer came back. But she wanted to raise awareness, and she wanted to educate others on the importance of screening and preventative care. So she started an event called Fight Like Jan, and the first event was actually held 2 days before she passed away, but it raised $15,000 for the Reed Foundation, and that money has been used to help women cover cost of anything that's not under the Affordable Health Care Act. So maybe they need transportation to treatment or childcare, or maybe they need a mastectomy bra. Those options are available through the foundation.
And that's in the true spirit of Jan. That is so her.
Yeah.
Because she would do anything and just be very proactive. I just have to share a funny Jan story that one day something had happened to you, and
It
she
was probably a
not
car
happy
accident.
person. So she had decided she was going to go tell this person off that
Sounds about right.
That she was not happy with them because they had hurt her daughter's feelings.
Yeah, she was a mama bear.
And she was truly a mama bear, but the joke was, after she said how she was not happy, when she walked away, we were like, is anybody going to tell her that this is stage
4 cancer?
Stage 4 cancer.
She can't
And
fight
she's
anybody.
Like, oh, she's going to fight somebody. But in her mind, she was going to do that. So
She was strong-willed, and
very strong-willed.
I rarely went to her treatments with her. Her friends wanted to go with her. Her coworkers wanted to go with her. But she would always say, as she was leaving in the morning, I'm going out to kick cancer's butt this morning. And that was kind of her mentality, is I'm going to be tougher than this thing that's trying to knock me down. And even until her last breath, she was fighting.
Always.
Always.
And I just thought that, and can you share a little bit more about you had a huge event right before she passed away.
Yeah, so we hosted an event. We called it Fight Like Jan. At the time, we didn't have the Dear Family Fund, but all of her friends and coworkers got together, and we did silent auction items, live auction items down at Chuck's Sports Bar at the time. And that's where we raised $15,000 in one night. And it was, the room was packed full of people who wanted to support her, and everything from we were selling drinks, we were selling raffle tickets. At one point, somebody said, I want to call Jan. Somebody pay for the phone call, and someone donated $1,000. Like, people were just happy to give and have they knew the money wasn't going towards her. It was giving a purpose that we all kind of felt helpless at the moment, and this was giving us a place to help and support.
And it was just a great.
Yeah.
I have a friend that I brought with me to that event. She's like, that had to be one of the best events I've ever been to.
Yeah,
and I drag her to a lot of things.
Yeah.
So.
We've now turned it into an annual golf outing.
That's about the golf outing.
Yeah. So the Fight Like Jan golf outing happens every year at the Elks Country Club, and it again is raising money to support women in multiple health that are dealing with any kind of health issue. But we focus on breast cancer, and it's all women. It's usually about 100 women on a golf course, and it's just the most fun. It kind of embodies my mom's spirit and her energy. And there's always a fun theme. So this year it's going to be the Wild Wild West out at the Elks.
And with those themes, share with us some of.
Oh yeah, people love to dress up. There's always inflatable animals and costumes. And this year we've got some bigger surprises coming up.
The Wild Wild?
The Wild Wild West.
I can see.
Yeah.
A lot of different different things that happen. Also, with we've talked about how's this changed you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think people think that if you lose a parent to cancer, that you're going to be sad and you're going to have tough days. That's so true. For me, it has been almost 7-8 years now of learning through my grief and my struggle, finding moments of just pure joy and knowing that my mom's not there for me in those moments. But there's also something about getting the chance to live out her legacy and continue to tell her story and hope it shapes minds and changes how we talk about cancer. People don't like to talk about breast cancer. They don't like to talk about the scary C word, right? But I hope that by sharing her story, coming and talking to you, working with the Kaleidoscope team, that we're creating a space where people feel safe. They know that there are resources. They feel comfortable saying, who do I call to get a mammogram? I get a lot of those questions, especially from young women getting their first mammograms. What's it feel like? What happens if they find something? You know, we're opening the chance for them to talk about the really tough stuff. And that's been a really amazing experience for me, and it's helped me through that grief process as well.
And you did mention Kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
And we get to work together on that committee.
Yeah.
And so share with our viewers what Kaleidoscope is.
So Kaleidoscope this is the second year it's happened for the Reed Foundation. And imagine if we had a ribbon for every cancer that existed, it would look like a kaleidoscope. So this event, instead of having single events for every cancer, we're combining them all into one big event. And a lot of these events, people wear black. We want you to wear color and represent cancer, and kind of it's making it's a beautiful, gorgeous room. Ginger Gray does an amazing job. It's making it comfortable in a fun setting to talk about a really tough thing. And we raise a lot of money, but the biggest goal here is that we're educating people about prevention, and we're using the dollars raised to create education, awareness, opportunities, and to provide more prevention causes out of this event.
And you really got people to dress up.
We did. It is a fancy event, and it's so fun. It's such a fun night. We dance all night, and there's great entertainment, and I'm excited for the band this year. The food is incredible, so it's going to be a wonderful evening.
And always a fun thing.
Yeah.
And once again, I just wanted I think it's, at first, people were missing like a red dress ball or what. So as you were speaking, instead of just one event.
Yeah, we get the chance to have every cancer represented in the room. And that's so important because every cancer is important. We hear about the big ones. We hear about prostate, breast cancer, skin cancer. There are so many others, and as I'm going through this grief process and as I'm educating people in the community, I'm hearing about cancers that we never talk about, but they still need representation. They still affect people. So we need to be able to make sure that everyone gets preventative care, and the screenings are really important to that, and that's why Kaleidoscope matters.
And once again, we cannot stress the screenings.
Yeah.
Not enough.
I don't know how often I say to somebody, you're turning 40? Your screenings start this year, and it's almost like they know I'm coming because they hear me now and they're like, she's going to talk to me about screenings again. Like, it's important. We have to do it.
It is. It really is. And just getting people to understand how important it is to make sure that you're following through. But the biggest thing, I think, is just follow through.
Yeah.
Just to do it.
And taking that first step, once you have called Reed and scheduled it, it almost feels like it kind of flows from there. It's not uncommon for them to do a screening and to find something. That doesn't mean it's the big scary C word. But it's important that you did that. Like I said, I would rather find it at stage 1 and be able to have a quick treatment option than to have it at stage 4, where the options are limited and it's already into your body and your bones. And so that early prevention is important, but making the first step, I found something, I'm going to go take the step. I'm not going to ignore it, which is what we see with males frequently, is I found something, it'll disappear if I just don't look at it, don't touch it, don't talk about it. Women are a little bit better. We're not great. But it's really important to get in there. And even if you're not doing the self-exams, doing your annual screenings.
And if we've had people that will say, the screening was free, but what happens if I do have cancer?
That's a great question.
And we have a huge support system within the oncology services. They have a social worker. They have different people that can work with you to help pay for meds, things that people aren't necessarily aware of.
Yeah.
But there's so many different options and opportunities. We want you to get in and get the screenings, to take action over your own body is the biggest thing. And
that network that Reed has done a great job of, they're everything from, again, the child care, finding all these options for people. There are cancer navigators that walk you through step by step. They're there when you need a phone call or a friend. They also they have experience in this. So something that somebody said to me one day, I was like, Mom just has no appetite. And they said she needs more ginger. And that's not on Google. You can't Google that and find that.
Right.
That's experience.
Yes.
And they knew exactly where I needed to go, how much ginger, what flavor to get. And they were able to walk me through that. And it helped. I mean, having somebody in your corner that has experience and that can help you navigate as a caregiver was really important.
And that is huge.
The caregiver exhaustion is real. And so that support network that Reed has put together really helps take care of both the patient and the caregivers.
Oh, great. And with that, Roxie, we want to thank you so much for joining
having
us
me.
today on Let's Talk Together. And thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Together.
Let's shine by seeing the best in all of us and by treating you here, right in your hometown. Let's look out for each other. Let's stay healthy. Let's shine together.